during the Buddhist era, which was over 2,554 years ago, there was a person who was the chief minister of the king. Now, his job was to help foretell things and give advice to the king. Well, one of the things he realized was that on the full moon day of a certain day, that it was a bad day. Anyone born on this day is going to have bad luck for the rest of their life. Well, that exact day was the day that his wife gave birth to a baby. And so he predicted that basically this baby is going to grow up to be a criminal and be like one of the greatest criminals in the history of the world. And that really scared him. So him and his wife tried to talk about what to do. They decided that they would give him a new name. Instead of giving him a normal name, they give him a special name to maybe help fight off the evil that's gonna happen. So they named this guy Ahinsaka, which means good deeds. So basically, the guy's name was Good Deeds. So as a child, they raised him as best they could. They taught him all the good things about life. They took him to the best schools. He was a great student. He studied really hard and he became a really good student. He was good at all sports. He was taller than everyone, stronger than everyone, smarter than everyone, and everyone liked him for a while. Then, when he got to around high school or got around to like the senior year of high school, it's time to graduate soon. But the problem was, because he was so good, everyone started getting jealous of him. So the other classmates tried to beat him in sports, they couldn't. The other classmates tried to beat him in school, they couldn't. So they started getting really, really jealous. Well, they went to the principal and told the principal that they wanted to try to lie and gossip about him. So they said to the principal that, hey, this guy, Ahinsaka, he's a really bad student. He cheats, he's trying to take over the school. After he graduates, he's going to take over the school and kick you out. And the principal said, oh, be quiet, you guys are silly. Ahinsaka wouldn't do that. He's a good person, he's a good student. Then, after a couple weeks later, they went back again and said the same thing. Ahinsaka is going to take over the school, he's not a good student, he talks bad about you behind your back all the time, teacher. And the teacher says, no, I don't believe you, you guys are crazy, leave him alone, don't say these things. But the third time that they went to talk to the principal started to listen. He's heard it so many times from so many people that he started to believe. So they said that Ahinsaka is going to take over the school once he graduates because he's so smart. He's going to become the new principal and kick off the principal. So the principal got really scared. After listening to the gossip so many times, he got really, really scared. So he decided to put a plan in place. Well, he called Ahinsaka to the office and said, Ahinsaka, you're going to graduate in about maybe a couple weeks. And as a graduation present, the custom was that the student that's going to graduate has to give a present to the teacher. And the teacher will give you a magical scroll. Well, this magical scroll has special powers. It can help save people. It can help bring people back from the dead. It can help make things the way they should be. But if you want to graduate, you have to do a final task for me. Ahinsaka says, I will do anything you tell me, teacher, because I respect you as my teacher. Well, the teacher's plan said, if you want this scroll, you have to go bring me 1,000 human thumbs from the right hand only. Ahinsaka said, no way, I can't do that. I can't hurt people. I can't kill people. I'm not okay with that. I won't do it. And the teacher said, if you don't do it, you can't graduate. If you can't graduate, you won't get the scroll. And you wasted all your life studying and not graduating. Ahinsaka says, I'm not okay with that. I've never killed anyone before. I've never hurt anyone before. The teacher says, too bad. If you want to graduate, you have to bring me 1,000 right thumbs of people. So after a couple times, Ahinsaka realized that he had no choice. So he accepted, and he went and started. Because Ahinsaka was so strong, was so big, was so manly and muscular, it was easy for him to kill people. So he started going far away from his house because he didn't want to kill the people he loved. So he would go into the forest and start killing people. After he killed them, he would cut off their finger. And he would save all the fingers on a big long string. Now after like 400 or 500 people started getting really scared because he had a lot of fingers. And he would hang the fingers on a tree. And on that tree, the fingers would dry and then the birds would come eat the skin until all that was left was just a bunch of fingers, a bunch of dried bones. Now what happened was, because of this, the villagers started giving him a nickname. they called him Ongkuriman, or in English it's called Ongkurimara, which means finger garland necklace, which means the thumb necklace. And so his new name became Ongkurimara, the murderer, the villain. And so everywhere that he went, people would run away, but no one could run from this guy because he could run faster than a horse. He could jump higher than a monkey. He was smarter than any other person, and he was great with all weapons, whether swords, bows, knives, axes. He was good with everything. So he was killing people everywhere until entire cities would run away from him. No one would try to fight him. Everyone tried to run away. And it became a very big problem in that country because this guy was killing everybody. Now, since the villagers couldn't fight him, they decided to go see the king. And they went to the king and they made a big protest. They said, "King, you have to take care of this. You have to take care of Ongkurimara. He's killing all our relatives. He's killing all our friends. You have to stop him." And the king said, he got kind of scared too because he was like, this guy could probably wipe out my entire army by himself. But I'm the king, so I have to. So he got an army of 100,000 soldiers and got ready to go look for Ongkurimara. Now what happened was, the advisor of the king knew what's going to happen. So he told his wife. And because a mother always recognizes their son, a mother will always know who their son or their children are. So that mother knew right away that the person they were going to go kill was her son. So she told her father that, Father, you have to stop the army. You have to warn our son. And the father said, any mass murderer who kills a lot of people who's this bad is never going to be my son again. I disown him. You should disown him too, wife. But the mother said, I can't. I love my son too much. I can't disown him. So the mom decided to go out in the middle of the night before the army left the next morning to go warn her son. Now that very night was the night that Ongkurimara had already killed 999 people already. He already had 999 people and he wanted just one more and he'd go back to his teacher and win and get the scholarship. However, no one lived in the forest anymore. All the cities near Ongkurimara, no one lived there. Either he killed everyone or they all just ran away already. So there was no one left to kill. So he's just walking around waiting for someone to randomly walk by. Well, guess who walked by that morning? His mom. His mom was walking by. He could see with his special eyesight, he could see from like 5 miles away that his mom was walking towards him. So he decided, what the heck? I don't care if it's my mom, I'm going to kill my mom too. She'll be my 1,000th kill. Well, the problem was, one of the 5 crimes that if you commit will result in automatic hell. One, if you kill your mom. 2, if you kill your dad. 3, if you kill a fully enlightened monk like Luang Por Thoon. 4, if you make the group of monks or nuns fight and that they have to break apart from each other, that means you're destroying the religion. Or 5, if you make a Buddha even bleed a little bit, immediate hell. It's one of the 5 unforgivable crimes. Unforgivable. Now, Ongkurimara was about to commit one of the 5 unforgivable crimes. Now that morning, the Buddha, who was far, far away, he woke up and then he closed his eyes and sent his powers all over the world to see who's ready to become enlightened this life. Who needs my help the most? And he saw Ongkurimara. He saw that Ongkurimara had all the powers of someone who could become enlightened this life. He did a lot of good all his other lives. But this life, he was killing. But it wasn't too late. He could still become a good person if he didn't kill his mom. But if he killed his mom or did one of the 5 unspeakable crimes, no matter how much good you did, too late. So the Buddha decided to go help him out of the Buddha's mercy. So the Buddha used his psychic powers, so the Buddha popped up right in the middle between him, the mom, and the Buddha. The Buddha was right in the middle. So Ongkurimara made a decision. Should I wait and kill my mom who's 5 miles away? Or should I run after and catch this old monk who's only like 2 miles away? And Ongkurimara decided, I'm going to kill this monk instead. So Ongkurimara started running after the Buddha, but he didn't know it was the Buddha yet. Just saw some random monk who's standing in the way. So the Buddha started walking away. Ongkurimara is running, and remember, this guy is the fastest runner on earth. He's so strong, so fast. He's running like really fast. But the Buddha was just walking slowly. But no matter what happened, Angulimala couldn't catch the Buddha. He kept running and couldn't catch him. And Buddha was just walking. Now Angulimala didn't understand, he was so confused. No matter how much he ran, he couldn't catch the Buddha. So he asked Buddha, he said, hey monk, stop going away from me, I can't catch you, stop. And the monk said to him, Angulimala, I have already stopped. I've stopped a long time ago, but it is you who hasn't stopped yet. And Angulimala got really confused because in that time, in that era back then, 2,554 years ago, people didn't lie. People tell the truth. And so, especially monks, they tell the truth. And so Angulimala got really confused. Why is this monk lying? Obviously. He said he stopped, but he's still walking away from me. And he says, I haven't stopped, but I'm stopped here yelling at him, so he's lying. So he said, okay monk, I'm not going to kill you for now, but I beg you, please stop and explain to me what you just said. So the Buddha stopped, and Angulimala stopped and put down his weapons so they could talk first, because they were honest. Then the Buddha said, Angulimala, you said that I haven't stopped, and you wanted me to stop, but I told you that I have already stopped. What I have stopped is, I have stopped hurting other people. I have stopped having to go to hell. I have stopped all the future karma that I need to accept. I have stopped all evil in this world that deals with me. I am done. I never have to cry again. I never have to hurt anyone ever again, and no one will ever have to hurt me again. It's over. I'm already free. But you keep killing people. You keep hurting people. You're not done. You're going to have to keep coming back. You haven't stopped. You keep doing bad, you're going to keep receiving bad from this. That's why I said that you haven't stopped. And once the Buddhas make this sermon, Angulimala understood what he meant and realized that this whole time that he thought he was doing good, he was actually creating more karma for himself that he would have to go to hell and pay for it, come back and pay for it again. And he realized that this was the worst thing he could possibly do. So that moment he decided, I'll never hurt someone again. And he asked, can I become a monk in your group? And the Buddha said yes. So Angulimala shaved his head, put on the yellow robes, threw away his weapons, and became a monk. But that's not the end of the story. Now, Angulimala walked after the Buddha and followed the Buddha, went to go sit at the Buddha's temple. Well, the king who had the big army, remember? The big army? The king who had the big army was a disciple of the Buddha also. So he came to ask the Buddha for blessing that his army doesn't get killed by this one person. So as he's bowing to the Buddha says, dear king, why do you have such a big army today? Are you going to war somewhere? And the king said, not quite to war. We just have to capture this horrible bandit that's been killing 999 people already. We have to catch him. But we're really scared because this guy could kill an entire army by himself. And the Buddha says, what would you do if you found out that that mass murderer had shaved his head, never to touch a weapon again, promised never to hurt someone else again, became a monk, and dedicated his life to doing good for the rest of his life? What would you do? And the king laughed and said, Buddha, you're funny. That's impossible. No mass murderer could ever become a monk. But if they did, I would bow to him 3 times. I would provide food for him for the rest of his life. I would give him all the clothes he would ever need, and I would be his student, because I would respect someone who could do something like that. So the Buddha says, well spoken, king. Look right here. This is your murderer, sitting right here. He's now a monk. The king fell off his chair because he was so scared of Angulimala. He just fell off his chair and was running away and was scared. But when he got his senses back, he realized the Buddha's here, and the Buddha helping set this up. So he went back and did what he said. He bowed to Angulimala. Angulimala gave him food, gave him robes. Angulimala didn't accept the robes. He decided that because he spent his life doing so much bad, he has to spend the rest of his life being the best monk he can. So he had only one robe. He never slept under a building again, always slept in the forest. Spent every day of his life practicing to make up for all the evil that he has done. So through his practice, he was able to become an enlightened monk, finally. And so he was free from hell. But his karma wasn't done. He killed 999 people. You don't get away for free. But what happened to him was this. Every day that he'd go for his alms round with his bowls, and he'd go begging for food, people would put like feces or like poop in his bowl, so it ruins his food. people would take big rocks and throw it at him and hurt him and make him bleed. But the Buddha just told him, Ongkuriman, the pain that you're receiving now is the payment that you're receiving for the pain that you caused other people. Just take it. Because once this is over, you never have to come back again. You're free. So just take it. Don't be mad. Don't fight back. Just take it. And so for the rest of his life, Ongkuriman just took it. He just took it. And while he was taking it, he decided he wanted to help people. So what Ongkuriman was famous for was two things. One, he was the mass murderer who became a good person and became a monk and became enlightened. He was probably considered one of the most evil people who eventually still became enlightened. But the second thing that he was famous for was that he had such respect for people who were giving birth. He wanted to help women who were giving birth and dying. So he created a chanting verse that used his power to help protect women who were giving birth so they wouldn't die. So in the future, he became the patron of women who were giving birth. Now, the reason I tell you this story, do you guys remember what the moral was in the beginning?
It's not too late.
It's never too late. As long as you repent, as long as you do something bad but you stop, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to be a good person. It's never too late to try your best. Because if you are not dead, you still have at least one more day to do good. And that one day that you do good, it's still better than none. It's never too late. And for us, we can use Ongkuriman not as an example that do as bad as you want and do good at the end of your life. But we use him as an example that no matter how much bad you've done, it's never too late to be a good person. So you always have a chance. Never give up. Keep fighting till the day that you die. Fight to become a good person every day because it's never too late.